Holy moly, that was fast, Russ. We barely got that in under the wire. Thank God for Paulie Ham telling us we had a minute left because we were scrambling in the background doing our thing. But guys, welcome to the Eden Army podcast. I'm your host tonight, Pete Robertucci. We do this little podcast every Thursday night, and we certainly thank you for tuning in. A couple of quick notes before we get started. Don't forget the Rally Point class in Daytona Beach this February on the 6th through the 8th. And then, well, we're off to mountain readiness, right? So, guys, look right there. There's the Rally Point QR code. You can scan that on the playback. And if you do it before the end of the month, you get 25% off. So I don't know what to tell you. I'm trying to save you money. I really am. Guys, I'd like to just a reminder to like, share, subscribe, all that special mumbo jumbo that keeps Russ off of my back. And thank you, Mama Gnome, K-Love, Tom, Matthew, and Opie for your resubscription. Well, tonight we got a lot to talk about. Conservatives, podcast hosts are being shot at their house. No Mo NATO, we'll call one of the segments of that. And we're doing another one. We say this 10 times real fast. Trump's tanker takeover. We're going to talk about that. Charlie Kirk's killer makes his first appearance in court. But first, we have a very special guest tonight. We all know him. We all love him. We all probably have taken classes from him in the past and listened to all of his great stories. We're going to bring in Nick Meacher. But first, I'm going to run this quick promo.
Ethan Hawthorne, a worker at Bohemian Grove, uncovers a secret plan by powerful elites preparing underground shelters and survival lists for a coming global disaster. Marked for elimination, he escapes with evidence and becomes a target. Meanwhile, Brad Turing, a former intelligence officer, receives an encrypted message that leads him to discover Cerberus, a massive hidden continuity of government bunker in Colorado. As analysts and radio operators detect unusual signals tied to secretive groups, Ethan realizes Brad's name is on the elite survival list. He heads toward Colorado, hoping Brad can help expose the plan before it is fully activated.
Welcome, Nick Meacher, to the Eden Army podcast, brother. Good seeing you. Welcome back, man.
Yeah, good to be back.
So last time we had you on, I think you were talking about comms and all the stuff that you're an expert at. But this Meadow protocol, this thing came out of nowhere. Tell us a little bit about that, brother.
Well, it started 6 years ago, actually. Pre-COVID, I had started, so when I worked at Denver Airport, there's a lot of conspiracy stuff about Denver Airport. And working there, I, researched it all just because, you work there. I wanted to know about the place and all the rumors. And I started mind mapping stuff. And then, you've seen some of my mind maps. And I started looking at it going, there could be some truth to this. And so I started diving into it and I started writing. And I talked to Chris one point about it. And he goes, "You need to write that." And I went, "Yeah, I have no idea how to write fiction." So I started and I got some done. I don't know how much I did get done to start with. Probably about 20,000-30,000 words. And then it got put aside because of COVID and then working, etc. And then when I ended up working from home full time a few weeks back and talking to you and Russ at Mountain Readiness, I was like, I need to get back to writing that. And so I did. And it went a lot faster than I thought. My plan was to get it done by February so it could be out by, Mountain Ready. And it just went a lot faster and a lot quicker than I thought. And, I was up late a lot in the mornings, 4:00 in the morning, still writing, and the dog's looking at, "Come to bed." And he's sitting up here right now looking at me. But, that's it. I took a lot of stuff and a lot of real stuff. So
Right.
the line between what's real and what's not is very fuzzy.
Yeah, so that's like when me and Chris even talk about. I'd heard Chris say it in the past, that when we say we're fiction writers, we say we're kind of faction writers, right? It's kind of like kind of rides that line between what actually happened, what could happen, and some of the crazy stuff we put in our own minds, right? That we happen to throw on paper and hope that the FBI doesn't come after us. But now, when I wrote my first book, I was inspired by my daughter and my family. What truly inspired you to write and open yourself up to this world of ridicule and critiques of being a big time writer now?
Um, so the whole concept of continuity has intrigued me since, in my first career, I was involved in some continuity stuff. And
Now, when you
so
say
it's always
continuity, I'm
intrigued.
assuming you mean continuity of government and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Is that what you're talking about? Yeah. So explain
yeah.
continuity of government for those people that don't understand.
So continuity of government's been around for a very, very long time. World War II, maybe even before that. But really, governments got into it in and around World War II and after World War II. And the concept was obviously to keep government functioning when disasters strike. During World War II, obviously, bombings and things like that. Um, and then after that, in the U.S., I think it was Eisenhower started a program of NORAD's one of the most popular places. Building places to sustain operations and government. There's several well-known places. The Greenbrier is one of them, which was a hotel that was exposed as a site um, by the Washington Post. There's Raven Rock, which is not too far from me, on the Maryland-Pennsylvania border, which is kind of like the Pentagon's go-to place. And then there's Mount Weather, which is FEMA's main facility, which got discovered after a plane crashed into the mountain one day, many years ago in the 70s, I think. Um, and so those are known places. Um, but it's always fascinated me that the whole concept of keeping government going. And so a lot of the research went into this, looking at some of the programs that were around at the time or rumored to be around or still be around. And so all that's kind of thrown into this mix.
Gotcha. So, and when you talk about continuity of government, now that works on a federal level as well as municipalities. But I can tell you, as a past civil servant, as a past first responder, they may have a plan on the federal level, folks. But I can tell you from a municipality, we are in a world of hurt should something happen. Now we go through these disaster scenarios and we fail over and over and over again on a city level. So when we say you are your own first responder, believe me, you are your own first responder because nobody's coming to help you. And speaking of first responders and working within the government, did your experience in disaster management, like you were talking about, help guide you in the direction of your storyline? Corrupt governments, clandestine plans, continuity of government. Did that guide you your past work?
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, from the continuity perspective, and then some of the stuff that's in there, some of the real stuff that's in there. Yes, it's stuff that now say everything I um, made sure that you could find it on the internet. So nothing that I may or may not be aware of otherwise. It's all public information that's in there. But
Right.
there is true functionality within some of that material. Yeah,
So when
it's
I was
really
reading
it's that
excerpts,
faction.
it is right.
That
It
whole
is part
faction.
of
Yeah,
that
yeah,
faction
yeah.
stuff. As I was reading through some of it, and you have a group in there called the Cadre, and we won't get too much into that, but that reminded me of a lot of the global elitists, the Bilderberg group types, the and now to a different level. I don't want to give too much away out of the book, but it kind of reminded me of that. Nick's gone. Well, long and short, there is a special. Here he comes. He's coming back. Bring him on. And you're gonna have to redo all those things, Russ. There he is. You're back. So back where I was at,
Yeah, I don't
Nick.
know what happened.
That's all right. The cadre, I was talking about the cadre in your book, and it
Mhm.
kind of reminds me a little bit of the Bilderberg groups, the global elitists. Is that kind of what you pictured when you envisioned the cadre?
Well, and so as you in the intro piece you had, you mentioned Bohemian Grove. That's one of their places. So that's mentioned. And there's yeah, so that stuff's in there too. The whole, what are the conspiracies around those groups and so that's all built in there.
Right. So global elitists, and I like the way you kind of spun the
Mhm.
plan in that, and it kind of reminds me of some of the stuff. There's a global elitist, a gentleman who shall remain nameless, who's buying up all the farmland here in Florida with no real reason to farm it, and you wonder why this multi-billionaire person would buy up all of Floridian's farmland. But it's interesting to me. So I like the concept of the Meadow Protocol. You take the story into a kind of a techno sci-fi thriller type of deal, which is a far cry from what we normally read when it comes to dystopian fiction. Although you do have some events that are catalysts that drive these things that makes the powder keg go boom. But it's more a dive into the sci-fi thriller deal that I kind of dig. So what made you decide to go in that particular direction as opposed to EMP and all that good stuff?
Well, not to say that I haven't.
Right.
So I look at a lot of, whereas most of the books that I've read in that in your kind of genre, the dystopian type genre, pretty much all start with an event's occurred, and I look at it before that event occurs. So um, the whole the whole book up until the last chapter or so is all about what is being put in place before that event, and some of it's real. Um, the whole continuity of government, being able to government to survive, and we know that certain people with a hell of a lot of money, that probably the same one that you're talking about, as well as several others that we can name, have facilities. We know people have been since COVID, was a lot of it come to light, but moving out of Hollywood, moving into Wyoming and Montana and building places and buying up, facilities that are partially, uh, can be rehabbed. I guess that's a term. So, a lot of that stuff is already going on. It's going on. And I want to look at that and look at the, um, present that stuff, that side of it, not just focus on a group surviving it. And that's, something occurs at the end of the book that triggers everything, but then at the same time, it exposes everything. And it would not surprise me. I mean, we know people have, there's certain political people that have um, a account, for one of a better
Mhm.
term, and just to know whether that's true or not. And people disappear under mysterious circumstances. Maybe it's because they know something. Who knows? I mean, um, there's some people that have exposed some of the dirty little secrets, and you know, so I just kind of smashed it all together, and you know tried to make make a story out of it. I mean, it just kind of intrigued me. Like I said, when I started looking at a lot of these different things and these rumors about the airport, and then they kind of spanned into other things, um, it was like there's a lot to this. And when I kind of stood back, when I had it all mapped out on a mind map and looked at it, and went, there you can connect the dots here. There's different theories and rumors out there, and while some of them, if you just look at them by themselves, but if you start diving into them and you're like, there's a pattern here, whether it's a
Right.
real pattern or not, I don't know, but it seemed a good way to explore it.
Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences anymore. Unfortunately, I've seen
Mhm.
too many reasons not to believe in coincidences. Unfortunately, like I said, but that's interesting. So you're a great educator. We know that. We know that you could talk technical stuff, especially about disaster relief, emergency management, and ham radios and all that good stuff. So, what can a person learn from the Meadow protocol?
So there is communication stuff in there. It lists things that you might want to listen to in a disaster. One-time pads are in there. I couldn't resist the option, and so there's a chapter, an interlude chapter that explains how to use one-time pads. There's an appendix that goes into a little more, and so there's messages in there that you can actually decrypt. It uses the one set of training pads that everybody's familiar with, and it mentions where you can find them. And I can't remember how many messages are in there, 3 or 4. So you can actually decrypt them, and you get to learn some stuff that may not be in the book. That's part of the story. That's in there. I mean, the next one's going to go into some other more technical stuff a little bit. So trying to, just like, your books and Chris and others, there's learning lessons in there. You can go back through it and go, oh, look, there's stuff for a get home bag. There's stuff in there for a get home bag, and where you can find more information. And I couldn't resist. I kind of talked to some folks and I said, absolutely, you should reference your existing, the family emergency plan and the threat assessment book. So that's mentioned in there. Said, hey, look, what they're talking about here, you can go find it on my website, and so that's in there as well.
So speaking of your website, what is your website? So people get a hold of all these cool little gadgets.
Fortune favors the prepared.
And right on cue. There goes Russ popping things on, doing his thing. Fortune favors the prepared. You can find all of Nick's goodies there, and there's a wealth of information there, guys. Like he said, family preparedness, your plans, your comms plan, your PACE plans, and TCCC cards and stuff like that. So something to think about. Let's see what else. I got a couple of questions from the Peanut Gallery. Let's see here. Is there a puppy in the book? Got any dogs?
Yes,
there
are. There are dogs in the book. This one's not. There are 2 others that I had earlier, because I was careful in some respects trying to not date the book, put specific dates in, but there are a couple of events that are real events, so you can, if you research it, date it, but I didn't want to because I didn't want to narrow it into something. But later on, this one has to come into it. I started the book, I didn't have him, so he'll come into the book. He'll come in book 2 somewhere. He has to.
Perfect. Yeah, of course. It's just the way it works with us dog people. Patrick 7 asks, are you afraid you're going to ruffle some feathers with this book? Letting out a little bit too much information there. Are you going to get killeried, is what he's asking you.
Well, if I do, you'll know the answer to that question. I thought about it, and that's why, it's like when I like I said, when I plotted this stuff and stood back and looked at it, when you can connect the dots. I don't know if I stumbled on something or not. Just by connecting the dots. I guess if I suddenly disappear, then the answer to that question is yes. I mean, can you find this stuff out? Sure. You can, take your favorite AI platform these days and put the question in there, and it's going to answer it. So, it's up to you to decide whether or not it's true or not, I guess.
The great part about being a fiction writer, and you'll learn this, is you can you have an alibi. You can Google anything you want, and all you have to say is, I was researching a book. I don't know I'm a published author. I was researching that for this dystopian fiction book I was writing. So go beat it. So I don't think you have anything to worry about. Yeah. Good stuff. So I'm going to be the first to ask, when's book 2 coming out, and where the hell's the Audible? Because that's what I get every time.
Yeah. So I have started writing book 2. I am trying. There's a few things that I did in this one that I like, damn it, I goofed that up. Where I wanted to end it so that you kind of caught up where everybody was. And so that I have to make sure I've got that in my head going into book 2. I've already got like 5 or 6 chapters written. My goal is to have it before mountain readiness. I mean, why not? So that is my goal, which is totally achievable because I'm not going to end up going back into the office until the end of February. Next week I have the surgery, so I'm not sure much is going to get done next week. I'll be high on drugs, so maybe it might be interesting writing while I'm doped up. But
Might be the best writing you ever did. That's what
maybe,
musicians
hey,
that's what musicians put their stuff out when they're high.
yeah, well, rumor else that Alice in Wonderland was written while the author was high on coke or something or other. So who knows?
Exactly. I think LSD. I don't remember what it was, but I think you're right. Okay, so we
Yep.
already talked about your website. Are you going to be making any appearances in the next few months? Are you going to be in Mountain Readiness?
I'm definitely going to be at Mountain Readiness. My daughter is also going to be there, and her significant other. He makes wooden furniture with concealed furniture stuff. So they're coming down. But I'm going to be there. Um, I've already got some patches ordered. I've got the sticky window ones, so these came in today. These are actually slightly different than the book because I had 2 floating titles around, so I ordered these beforehand. So these ones will be exclusive. This one says the Meadow Protocol. The patches will come in once I sold enough book to pay for the patches. They're a little bit more expensive, so I'm going to
Yeah.
have those. You have to. You got to have the patches and the stickers and what have you. So I'll have those. Obviously, I'll bring books to sign. I do have to get on my website and put them up there if people want signed copies. So that'll be done. The Audible, that I did put up the day that the book went up to Amazon. I did put it on the Audible site for uh,
Auditions.
auditions.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple of authors or a couple of, I don't know what their proper title is, narrators that I've specifically reached out to. One that does your books, the guy that did Russ's book. There's another guy that I've come across. He's got a bunch of stuff on social media, and it keeps popping up on my feed. And to say something the other day that like, well, heck, he must do audiobooks, and I looked and he does. So it's like I've sent him a message. He's actually deployed right now, but he won't be back till January. But um, he's interested, so we'll see. But from what I've been told, it takes several months. It like the book is, according to the website, it's about 8 to 9 hours of audio, and I think it said for every hour of audio, it's like 4 or 5 hours of production. So do the math. That's a lot of production time. So yeah, I can see why audiobooks. Wow.
Yeah, and especially if they're perfectionists and they really want to do it. Like the one girl that's doing Wyoming Falls for us, she's she actually sends her stuff off to an editor. So it's kind of
Yeah.
she'll do that and then she'll send it to an editor and then she'll proof it. So it takes a long time. Speaking of Wyoming Falls, guys, book 2 on Audible will be coming out any day now. Keep an eye on my socials for that. We got another question from Guy. He says, is there anybody in the book based on anyone you know? Loosely.
Yes.
Yes or no is a good answer to that, and you don't have to give out which character and who it represents. I've run across that problem before, and people get mad at me.
Yeah, pretty much everybody. Nah, I can't say everybody. There's a few exceptions. There are some people in there because remember, I started writing this 6 years ago. So most of you guys did not know. So they're based on people I knew, 6 years ago. Several of whom I still keep in contact with. So yes, there are one person I can remember, 2 people off the top of my head that are, I'll say, newer acquaintances. Now,
Gotcha.
vaguely and very loosely. Whether or not anybody will pick up on it, I don't know. We'll see.
Gotcha. So I asked this of all my guests. What's the perfect day like in Nick Meacher's life? Like, if you had anything, what would be the perfect day? You wake up. What would make Nick Meacher tick for the day? Go ahead. It's a hard question, actually, but
Well, So I forgot how much fun I had this 6 years ago. Um, and so getting back into doing this, I had a lot of fun. And um, if I had the choice, or if circumstances were right and I could do this all the time, I think I kind of like that. I really did enjoy getting into this. I mean, there's some things I goofed up in it, but hey, it was my first time out. And you know, I want to make it better. I'm a perfectionist, so it's I've got to go back and book two's got to be better. And how many books out of this I can make, I don't know. I mean, I asked AI and it said 3 to 5. I'm like, holy hell, I'd have to spin up my brain for that, but it's fun. I enjoy it. So I think that's, if I had my choice to be able to do that and I could pay my bills with it, you know, I doubt it, but what the hell.
Well, if you're on pace to put another one out by Mountain Readiness, I think that outcome will come quicker than you think. Nick Meacher, where can people find your book right now?
So right this very minute, it's on Amazon. And then tomorrow I've got to get into my website and it will be on my website, where you'll be able to order signed ones, and anyone that orders one off my site will get one of these stickers. And so that, like I said, I've got to put that up tomorrow. So yeah.
Very cool. All right, Amazon guys, and look forward to the Audible coming out. It's on Kindle right now as we speak, and I think he's enrolled for Kindle Unlimited. So if you have a subscription for Kindle, you get to read it for free. He just gets paid by the page. So that's kind of cool. So Nick, I'm going to leave the rest of the segment up to you for some parting words from Mr. Nick Meacher. Give us some parting words. Give us some words of advice.
Oh, words of advice. There's the usual one: keep your powder dry and watch your six. And I think that's every day. That's a given, and it just don't become complacent. I think that's got to be the biggest one right now. Get your plans together. Check your plans. I know a lot of people bought the workbook and they're like, oh, I haven't got around to it. I had a lot of people come up, Mountain Readiness in October saying the same thing, and I'm like, you've got to do the work. I can't give you a plan. It's unique to you. That's the whole point of it. So get it done, because you'll never know when you're going to need it. Winter's here. You can be impacted by weather. I mean, it's got cold early this year everywhere. So get your stuff together. I think that's got to be it.
So get your head out of your ass, people, is what he's saying. Nick Meacher, thank you, sir, for being on the Eden Army podcast. We appreciate you. We'll see you again, and I hope you do well on your book and get to writing your next one.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, that's Mr. Nick Meacher. You can pick up the Meadow Protocol on Amazon, on Kindle Unlimited, and soon on Audible, hopefully. But first, we're going to talk about Mr. Tim Walz right away. Well, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to let Trump do it.
We just pulled up to Timmy's house. Just need to plug in the speakers and we're good to go.
Unloading the instruments, setting up, getting ready to go, wake the whole neighborhood.
Retarded loser, pathetic retarded poser, retarded screaming louder, retarded retard thought.
There you go, guys. That was Mr. Nick Meacher. What did you think? And look, Tampon Tim, look, he's retarded. What am I going to tell you?
There goes TikTok.
Yeah, there goes TikTok. I don't think we're coming through on Facebook right now. I might have gotten my weenie smacked on Facebook.
Yeah,
so.
you might have, because I think Facebook just dropped.
Mm-hmm.
Whoops.
Very cool. Russ, welcome back, young man. Polly Ham, welcome back. How was y'all's week?
Howdy.
It's been a long week.
Yeah.
It's been a long week. You can't tell compared to the way I looked earlier when you and I were on, but I had that skin cancer removed off my face yesterday, but he did a wonderful job of it, and got a little bit of a facelift on this side, so I'm not like on as much as I was. But besides, chick dig scars. So.
Chicks do dig scars. Just make up a lie and tell them that you did it saving a cat out of a tree or something. That's it. Polly Ham, what about you, brother?
It's been a real creative week for me. A lot of writing, a lot of brainstorming ideas, a lot of editing. So some things are coming along.
Very cool. Well, we've unfortunately, I kind of keep my personal life to a minimum, but we did lose a couple of family members in the past few weeks. So we lost a couple. So just anyway, thoughts and prayers to all of their immediate family and their sons and daughters and stuff like that. We'll certainly miss you guys. But guys, don't forget also, we are doing the prep of the week. So don't forget, if you got a prep of the week, start thinking about what that was. So we can talk about that kind of thing. So very cool. Russ, I was a little nervous about doing the podcast tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's true, because you have a new toy now, and you were worried that everything was going to go crapola on you.
Yeah, we did. We do have a new computer, so hopefully I got all that squared away. My buddy James, my buddy Jim fixed me up with a new computer, got it all dialed in and all that stuff. But I was a little worried about it, because apparently conservative podcast hosts and stuff like that are getting their houses shot up by these wacko leftists. Have you guys hear about that?
I did. We were driving home from Columbia on Tuesday, and Teresa told me about that. And my initial thought was, well, and she kind of gave me the back history on the gentleman. And I'm like, well, I'm a little more set up than he is. So, rounds might be going back if they come at my house. Same with yours, I'm sure. But it was very interesting. We had probably a 20-minute discussion on it on the way home. So, we got a video on this if you want to run that video.
Let's run the video, and Paul, we'll find out what you think of all this if you didn't hear about this.
Welcome back here on Live Now from Fox, and we are following a developing story that we have been tracking here for a little more than 24 hours after a shooting. Gunshots fired there at the home of Tim Pool, who, of course, is known as a big political commentator with millions upon millions of fans on different social media platforms. Now, I do want to start from the beginning here, because we heard from Pool on social media Saturday as he gave the initial information, saying a vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying the report to appropriate law enforcement. This is the price we pay for speaking out against evil. He went on to say, my immediate thought is someone was trying to scare us, but we have a security gate and armed guards, and it's possible this deterred something more serious. Now, earlier today, he posted this follow-up saying, security believes 3 shots were fired. We are in contact with police and FBI. Thank you for everyone who reached out. If anyone has archived Chicken City, the shots should be audible. Unfortunately, we do not archive the live stream. This would be Friday between midnight and 1 a.m. Important to note, he's asking folks to kind of listen in if they do have that podcast somewhere, because you should be able to hear those gunshots fired. Now, reaction is coming in from all over here. We did hear from Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene posting, quote, "This is terrifying. I'm glad everyone is okay. Everyone must stand together against this type of political violence and intimidation, no matter who it happens to, whether you like them or not." Former Congressman Matt Gaetz simply writing, "So sorry to hear." And we also heard from Andrew Colvett. He is with Turning Point USA, saying, quote, "This is awful. Prayers for you and your team. Please stay safe." Now, all of this, of course, coming months after the assassination of Turning Point's leader, Charlie Kirk. He was fatally shot as he spoke to a large university crowd in Orem, Utah. That was back in September.
There you go. So Mr. Poole getting his house shot up. Luckily, he had security at the time, and maybe that stopped something more from happening. Paul, is this the first you're hearing about this, or did you have a chance to take a look at that?
First, I'm hearing about it. I try and steer away from the news before the podcast so I can give a fresh take on things. At least he had security. I think the thing that drives me crazy is, I mean, I said it before. It's, the left claims that the right's violent and the left's just being crazy violent. I think the other thing that got under my skin is everybody and their mother feels the need to send a tweet out with thoughts and prayers. Hey, go ahead and protect yourself with some thoughts and prayers. You'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly right. You are your own first responder, so that's what we preach around here. Very cool. Russ, anything to add to Mr. Poole's shooting?
I just saw the post that Cheese Doodle said about calling out Candace Owens. Candace Owens, I mean, and this kind of a sidebar, she's actually gone off the deep end, in my opinion. She just slings names out and just is trying to see what sticks to the wall. She came out and said that it was Tim Poole's brother that fired the shots. I mean, she's lost her mind. Teresa, like I said, when Teresa and I were talking about it, evidently he spends like 3 point something a year on security now. Can't go into town without security for his wife and kids, and he just doesn't know if he can afford it anymore. So we'll have to wait and see, what happens in regards to him canceling his podcast over all this. So, because he doesn't want to happen to him what happened to Charlie Kirk.
Right. I think, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a sad state of affairs when Paulie dropped. But it's a sad state of affairs when just for speaking your mind, you have leftist lunatics coming and shooting up your house. But yet they're not violent, right? The radical right are the ones that are the biggest threat to democracy, right? I get it. I'm with you. Also, it looked like that the YouTube #win does come through on Bontrix for future reference.
Awesome.
So very cool. So I don't know. What did I just see? I'm just looking through text or chat, guys, real quick.
Like Patrick said here, Candace Owens and that Ian guy have gone insane. They're always weird, but now they're full blown Q. And it's one of those things that we try not to what's the word I'm looking for? Promote Q at all. So just to be on the safe side for our own self and our own brand. So,
gotcha. I am driven, Battle Gnome. I am overdriven, but I know what you're talking about. I dialed it down a little bit, so hopefully that squares it away for you, brother. Very cool. So there's been a lot going on, and I've been preaching this for a long time now, that NATO is antiquated, that they are designed for the Cold War against Russia, and there's no reason why we should be spending tons upon tons, millions upon millions of dollars supporting NATO when most of the NATO participants don't even like us. So Mr. Massey went through with legislation here recently that said, look, it's about time that we get out of NATO.
All right, moving on to updates from United States of America. American Representative and Republican Thomas Massey has introduced a bill that effectively withdraws the United States membership from the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or the NATO. Remember, this comes after the U.S. revised its security strategy that puts America first. In a statement, the Republican senator introduced the bill, H.R. 6508, the NATO Act, and said this act may be cited as the Not Trusted Organization Act. While introducing the bill, Massey stated that NATO is a Cold War relic. The senator also said that the U.S. should withdraw from the NATO and use that money to defend the homeland and not socialist countries. Thomas Massie further went on to say that NATO was created to counter the Soviet Union that collapsed over 30 years ago. He added that Washington's involvement has cost taxpayers trillions of dollars. Now, this new bill requires the US president to formally notify NATO of Washington's withdrawal under Article 13 of the North Atlantic Treaty. The bill highlights that NATO's original Cold War purpose no longer aligns with current American national security interests. It also finds that European NATO members have adequate economic and military capacity to provide for their own defense. The NATO Act prevents use of US taxpayers' funds for the alliance's common budgets, including civil, military, and security investment program.
Yeah, I can't agree more with that. Battle Gnome even says, look, now it's time to kick the UN out of the US, and we'll worry about ourselves. The rest of the world can fend for themselves. And I kind of agree with you there, Battle Gnome. Russ, thoughts on leaving NATO?
Well, I spent, my 20 years in the military, the first 10 years was during the Cold War. And NATO was a definite thing, but so here's my thoughts, and I'm going to I got a little bit of a monologue here. Most of the NATO countries meet or exceed the 2% of their GDP that's based on some 2014 agreement. But the U.S. has the highest GDP, which is $30 billion more higher than whoever's in second, which is Germany. And thus they contribute 66% to the total NATO defense budget. It's insane. And while I think that this resolution he's trying to pass through is very unlikely to pass, but I think what we're going to see is a major revision in the way of maybe reduced commitments, especially from the financial side, which would be probably the best results. Personal opinion, Russ's personal opinion, we need to get the hell out. It's antiquated. I agree with you. It's antiquated. Those regulations, I would hazard to guess, have still not been updated. And I've been retired for 20 years. And it's been 30 years since I worked in NATO. And I guarantee you those regulations have not been updated.
Right. And remember, Russ, you said the 2% that they were supposed to be given for GDP, they weren't even given that until Trump's first term.
Exactly.
So now they're required to give 2%. Trump is making sure they do that. Now, you're right. Most of them now are giving up to 5%, but still that pales in comparison to the actual dollar amounts that we give, right? But at least they are living up to their contractual obligation to do what they're supposed to do. But is it a needed thing? Nah, I don't think it's needed anymore. And you know what? The proof is in the pudding. When they can't do anything about Russia and Germany is still buying oil from Russia, meanwhile, they're the sworn enemy of NATO. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's hypocritical and it's just stupid. And as Trump would say, it's retarded.
Yeah. There's a lot, if you start doing the research on it, there's going to be a lot of pros and cons if this happens. It could affect our market. It could affect, several things. The trade with the European Union, with Europe and different places like that. Bonus is some of that money comes back for us. But, there's a lot of pros and cons. It's sometimes it's the devil,
Yeah. And I kind of get that. But at some point, listen, if Russia is your sworn enemy, then you can defeat Russia very easily. You can do it economically. Russia is a paper tiger right now. They're a glass cannon. They're overextended. They don't have enough money. So why are you promoting the war effort from European countries buying their oil? It doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry, Rev. I did say retarded. Yes, I said retarded a couple of times. But speaking of oil, and not buying oil from people you shouldn't be buying oil from. Let's look what Trump decided to do to a Venezuelan oil tanker this week. There you go. And you're right, Patrick. All the leftists said, oh, he's stealing the oil so he can sell it. No, there's an embargo, sanctions against the Venezuelan government, and it's pretty much it's black market oil. So yes, he is going after them every way, shape, or form. Not only is he dealing with the narco terrorism, but Maduro is an illegitimate president. Everybody knows this, and everybody's afraid to say this. They know what he is. Just say what he is, and if you don't have the balls to do something about it, the orange man will. I promise you that. Thoughts on that, Russ?
You know, I did some research on this one. The shipping question was flying under a Ghanaian flag. The Ghanaian government came out and said, no, it's not one of ours, so illegal. Okay? It's sanctions. You're not supposed to be doing it. Cuba can kiss my ass. And, you know, it is what it is, because Ghana and Venezuela have been fighting over this part of the land, and it's just got some weird name since the 1800s, you know, about this land. And then in 2015, they found out there's like 100 million barrels of oil underneath it. And now they're fighting over that, you know, still as recently as November, you know, and
right.
Yeah, I don't think.
So, Paul, being a Navy veteran, what do you think of this introduction? Them boys doing work out there.
So I'm more excited that this is the biggest flex of muscle that we've shown in a long time, and I think it's very necessary, very needed. I was real pumped. I don't know if you guys could see my reaction in the corner. I was real pumped watching that video.
Yeah, that's letting them boys do their job is kind of nice. It's like letting the border patrol do their job.
Mm-hmm.
The thing they want to do is kind of nice to see. And you know those boys are amped up doing what they love to do.
I got a comment on Patrick's comment where he says, I don't know, guys. I think the Trump is a pirate arc sounds pretty cool. Got to agree. It's you know, it would be orange face instead of Blackbeard.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, there'll be pirate beams out shortly, I'm sure.
That's what Caleb says. She'll keep her eye out for the pirate memes. Caleb also would like to know who is attending the Rally Point class in February here in my hometown of Daytona Beach, Florida, the week before race week. So if you're into that racing stuff, you can stick around for a little bit, and maybe we'll even meet you out for dinner. And we'll make a few days of fun days out of it anyway. So Russ is definitely going to be there.
Yeah.
And who knows, we'll try to get some more people signed up. Hopefully we make it worth Wes's while to do that. Tom Bryce says he'll probably be there with his son. Tom, if you're going to be there, get a hold of Wes and tell him you're committed, because you and your son might be that magic number that decides yay or nay. Whether or not he goes through with this. Now, the venue is already set. The venue is a very cool place here in town, and it'd be good to get Wes and his crew here to see the place. So, very cool. No, yeah, you can buy exactly. I read that first it wrong, but yes, you can all buy me dinner when you come to town. I know a nice fancy restaurant, and it's very expensive, and I enjoy it very much. So that sounds good. Rev Friend says he'll check it out. All right, guys. So I saw something today that turned my stomach a little bit. I was watching one of the news broadcasts, and I just happened to walk into the room while Miss Melissa was watching it, and man, I don't know, something just crawled in my gut when I saw the alleged shooter of Charlie Kirk making his first court appearance today. Now, just before the judge entered the room, he was talking with his attorney, and the smug look on his face just made me want to reach through the television and throttle this little punk. So, we're going to run this clip real quick. Let me answer this question. Perfect, Tom. 100%. As a matter of fact, I already got a time slot set up for classes for you while you're in town. So you're already on my schedule, young man, you and your son. So back to Charlie Kirk's alleged shooter. You guys tell me. I'm going to run this, and you guys tell me what you think about it.
You know, all we can show right now is what we saw in those first few minutes before the judge began speaking, and that is this moment here. The man who is accused of horrifically murdering Charlie Kirk, laughing and smiling at times while talking to his attorney. And for people who are sitting at home and watching this play out in real time and now in tape, as we await to hear from the judge, they think, open up the cameras, put the cameras in that room, let the American public see this play out, because this is the mere 2 or 3 minutes that we saw of Charlie Kirk's accused killer before this began.
Yeah, I had a whole bunch more to that, guys, but I kind of stopped, and I didn't want to put it out there too much, but yeah, it kind of tweaked me a little bit. Russ, how do you feel when you see the alleged shooter? And I think they got enough evidence to say that this is the man responsible for it. I'm not saying that 100%, but there's evidence obviously to bring to a grand jury. There's evidence obviously to seek the death penalty. What do you think when you see that on TV?
Well, I think he doesn't need to be in civilian clothes. He needs to be in an orange jumpsuit and maintained shackles throughout. He has been, identified as somewhat of a threat. So, he needs to be treated as such. And that part alone is what irritates me. He's sitting there chatting it up with his lawyer. Okay, fine. And it was before any of the formal proceedings had started. Okay, fine. It happens, but, you would think he's either an absolute psychotic, which we're pretty sure he is, but he's not trying for a psychotic plea deal to the best of my knowledge. So I think it's just a Looney Tune and he needs to be treated as such.
I agree. Paul, what's your take on it?
Well, I mean, I agree with a lot of the comments. He just needs to get the death penalty. But, I'm going to take an opposing stance to Russ here, and I don't really take an opposing stance much. The part of the due process is if they're able to wear civilian clothes while in court, they are, because if the jury sees somebody in a jumpsuit, then that's that.
And I understand.
They can shackle him under his clothes though, and they can have guards. So I think that he needs to be shackled for sure under his civilian clothes. But I mean, I think this is going to go pretty quick, and it's going to be
I think it is going to be quick. Go ahead.
You saw one of the states that reinstated firing squad. I know Kansas was. Maybe we can move this. Maybe we can move this case to Kansas.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure if they, God willing, they did. If not, let's get it done over there, Utah. Let's get it done real quick.
You're right.
Let's see. I'm going to go back here.
We looked into that, Pete, when this first happened, and I done forgot what we had looked into that. I know they do have lethal injection as their primary method, but I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. And there's Patrick. There's Patrick going on with his conspiracy theorists that go on the internet. I love Patrick. Goodness gracious. Good stuff. So
yes. All right. I just did a Google search. Death penalty in Utah. Lethal injection is the standard method, but firing squad is available as an alternative.
There you go. I wonder if he gets to choose, or if the judge gets to choose.
Well, hopefully it's
South Carolina, you get to choose.
Yeah, South Carolina, the defendant gets to choose, or the person found guilty, I should say. All right, guys, you know what time it is. It is time for the prep of the week. Prep of the week. Russ, you get any prepping done?
I sent some another very nutritious all natural animal to freezer camp, and we have purchased some clothes that actually fit now. And then we'll be rotating our bags out before we head down to Florida. Here either right before Christmas or right after Christmas.
Outstanding. Paulie Ham, did you do anything this week? Did you buy a bag of beans, anything? Oh, I don't hear him. You're muted. No, that was for the Helen Keller of the group.
I'm sorry.
Hashtag prep of the week, guys. I can tell you that, like Jason said over there in Kick Chat, I spent yesterday on the range from 12 o'clock till 8 in the evening, taught a couple of classes, and then we met with the group and worked out some night vision stuff, learned a lot about the limitations of our night vision, assuming that we had some. I mean, we just borrowed some because we don't really own them, right? And the thermal imagers, we tried to figure out what the limitations were for both of those. So, yeah, definitely did a lot of training. Rev, I saw Rev got his eyes fixed, a little bit of surgery done, so very good there. Make sure I don't have Paul muted somewhere on my end. No, I'm not got you muted. Yeah. And let's see what else we got. Patrick says his son and himself have been working on lock picking still. Look, you said that last week. Move to the next one. If you don't figure out how to pick a lock by now, then you need to go somewhere else.
Yep.
With that. Do some new prep of the week next week, Patrick.
Yep. Tom says he got a couple more knives.
Yeah, well, imagine that. I mean, it's the only I know. Tom only gets knives on the day of the week that ends in a Y, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. Guy says he picked up a few more supplies and taking them up to the prepping location. Nick Meacher says he got his knee fixed, or he's getting his knee fixed next Tuesday, and Patrick says he's working on picking deadbolts. That's a whole different animal. Jewel Miss Dorn says that the kitchen's 90% done. Freeze dryer should get moved back tomorrow. Saturday, tons of turkeys and hams waiting potentially to be on trays and go through the sublimation process of freeze drying. Very cool. Tom says good luck, Nick, with the surgery. And Tom, again, we look forward to seeing you down here in Florida. What else we got? Russ, you got anything else for me?
Well, let's see. What else do we have?
I know we got the giveaway. So this is the last chance, guys. Hashtag win. Remember, subscribers on Kick always have a double the chance to win. So let me try to share my screen here and see if I don't just destroy the entire friggin' process here. Let me see here. Let me see if I remember how to do this. Share screen. I'm doing it, Russ. Russ, I'm doing it.
Yep. Don't forget to turn on the audio. Don't turn the volume on.
Don't turn the volume. Here I go. I'm doing it. There it is. Look at that. Let's go back to. Let's add this, that, the other thing. Minimize that. I don't want to maximize it. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Hopefully you guys can hear me. If not, here we go. We're doing the old spinaroo.
All right, there we go. Bada bing, bada bang, bada boom. Susie.
Susie Q, you have 1 minute. 1 minute to type something in chat. You have 1 minute, 50 seconds to type something, anything in chat to claim your prize. So if you've left early, I don't know what to tell you, but you need to type something in chat. or else we are going on to the next participant.
come
Oh,
on.
you forgot about that, didn't you, Russ?
I did. Come on, Susie.
Do your thing, Susie.
She may be at work.
This is a terrible set of circumstances. Why is it taking? Oh, I know what I can do. Let me do this. Now we can see everything. Let me do it this way, Russ.
Yeah, that looks
Do it
better.
that way. That we can see.
There we go.
We go, Susie, you're running out of time. Type something. And she did it in the nick of time. Susie, do me a favor and text Russ your address. I will get on Amazon and direct ship one of Nick Meacher's books to you and bring that book to Mountain Readiness, and I'm sure he would be happy to sign it for you.
Well, and Nick said in chat that he'll get a signed copy out to the winner as soon as he gets them in.
Okay, either or. You
Either
just tell
way.
me what needs to happen. I know it's going to take a while for Amazon to get your copies to you, so doesn't matter.
Susie, text me your email. Text me your mailing address.
Very cool. Well, Paulie, you know it's that time of the show. Let's give your parting. Oh, there's Paul's going to give his parting words. Here we go. Look.
Absolutely hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Well, and we didn't mention it on the show, but we have Hell's Kiss this weekend. Meddy and Kelly are down here visiting. Their prep of the week they didn't mention is they just bought a new pickup truck from me. And and then we got Bullshite and his lovely bride coming over on Saturday. But guys, that's what it's about. Community. Getting together, sharing ideas, breaking bread. You can't beat it, And remember, it's always better to be someone's shot of whiskey than everybody's cup of tea. That's all I got, Pete.
Outstanding. Got to be a shot of espresso or a nice glass of Chianti. But guys, yeah, look, you hear it from me all the time. Get training. If you're not getting any training, look, it doesn't cost anything to stand in front of a mirror and practice with your freedom seed thrower, making sure your technique is perfect, right? Of course, you make sure it's unloaded and all that safety stuff. But it doesn't take any cost. It doesn't take hardly any effort. And I don't care. You can do it naked. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Be safe, guys. If you can't be safe, be dangerous. Thanks for watching the Eden Army podcast. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. And remember, be safe. If you can't be safe, be dangerous.